Welcome back to the highest level beyond all reason. Loading into Rosetta with 16 commanders and 8v8 at the very top level. Matched only by the enthusiasm that everybody's been showing for these top tier videos. So it'd be awesome if we could start by smashing that like button and maybe even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we? 375 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. I still have plenty more great games to show, so I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Some of the top players in the 8v8 game loading in here to Rosetta. And before we get too dramatic and started, we got to point out some of the main features of the map. The big one being a 10.0 metal extractor down the center. 10 metal per second. So metal extractors or metal extractor points are not all made the same. More is of course better, and usually they don't go over 3 or 4. But the king of the hill will be extracting by far the most metal on the map. And right now it looks like the lowest ranked player for the red team, Raphael, is going to be commanding the hill for the western team. And Signal on the other side in the teal will be commanding the 10 metal for the blue team. And of course you can keep track of things in the top right. Metal per second, energy per second, helps bring it all together. Build power, which, well, you can't build without extra power. And then total metal produced, energy produced, army value, damage overall, or defense value rather, and economy value. Oh, I want to see the damage too. We can do that. Yeah, I like seeing that number. It's not really that helpful, but I like watching number go up. Who doesn't? That's why we like and subscribe. But Rosetta, one of those maps that has the most dramatic front line. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 players in the back corner trying to macro up, but the lines will be drawn quickly, and there's not much to really stop them from happening at all. So we'll have to see which side is able to get early control as the ticks come out, and try to harass any of that early economy. Any sort of position you get early, as anyone who's played 8v8 knows, can spiral out of control. The amount of pressure mentally it can put on is as crushing sometimes as the physical damage. Another thing, energy on this map kind of hard to come by. The wind speed on average 7.5, and it can drop all the way to 0, which means most players are going to be relying on solar collectors, advanced solars, and maybe fusions later than the wind turbines, unlike I'd say most maps. There's a lot of metal to collect in Reclaim as well. But to start things off, we have Ridiculous with a surprisingly mundane strategy of sending out a bunch of grunts and trying to sneak by with his Resbot. We're going to have to keep constant tabs on the back line, because usually on maps like this, that's where the action happens. The front line will brawl it out, a slap fight between those early tier 1 units. Looks like it's going to be bots, Cortex on both sides with the grunts. But the backline players, the heavy hitters economically, we have our rank 69 player, X Factor Live, who's literally boxed himself in with solar collectors, building them, minimizing the amount of time that the commander is actually moving, because the commander, in fact, I think he actually reclaimed his first production facility, the bot lab, in order to get that little bit of extra metal, which is a risky endeavor. He's already built a bunch of grunts and sent them across, so trying to have it both ways, and he may succeed in doing so. We see right now the grunts from X Factor trying to sneak by through the gap before the lines are fully drawn with turrets. Of course, there's air on either side. Oh, Ridiculous getting caught, but still breaking through up to the high ground. The spawn location vulnerable. The shurikens helping to stun, but losing any side early on, like I mentioned, can spiral entirely out of control. The pawns on the run from the grunts. Pawns, if they get up close and personal, have more DPS, but the grunts can outrange them with their lasers outrange. So usually difficult to close the distance if they have a similar number of tier 1 bots. And here comes X Factor moving through, and behind this, remember, this is it. This is his army, but he's already getting the damage done. Moving his way through, and we see the first break. 8D gun also getting some damage. Self-destruct in order to gain some more economic advantage. A single light laser tower is the only admission that a lot of hurt is coming his way. Yanami will have to hold the line for now. I'm not sure where the commander is. Out on the front line facing against mighty chips. Ticks are reinforcing the grunts as X Factor finding himself getting a lot of damage done. Opening up a lot of space to build up the economy behind. Oh, and a transport as well with the Centurion anti-swarm bot, almost like a mini commander himself. That thing can kill pretty much all the tier 1 units unless it gets fully surrounded and overwhelmed. A very strong option for dealing with things like ticks, but see already the pings coming out like, how are his grunts in my base? Because all the units are out at the front. Ridiculous indeed. But, well, we already lost one. Not sure who dropped here. It looks like it was Raphael down the center. So, will anyone take command? A vote to end the game, which you probably know based on the fact you're watching this right now. It's not going to end here, but the commander at the very front, X Factor almost mentally defeating, but 8D Gun takes control, literally double the rank of the player he's replacing. Players calling for transport to find a little bit more success on the field, but 8D Gun will be covering most of the front line. The commander on the run, dodging rockets up to the high ground, trying to salvage the situation, desperately needing that 10 metal, dodging, duck, dip, dive, and dodging again. Takes a few hits though. Commander bruised at 37%, and there's not much coming out of the bot lab. The 10 metal extractor is offline, which means right now 67 and more percent more energy income, or metal income for the blue team. Meanwhile, X Factor live, crown on his head, well deserved. I think you get those for winning tournaments. Moving up, but here come the pawns trying to overrun them. The commanders tag teaming, repairing each other as well, as we saw momentarily. Trying to get us around, and if you lose a commander right next to your friend, that could be a double kill with things turning around. The D-gun does not kill commanders, not anymore. The D-gun actually just straight up bounces off commanders, which in my opinion is a cool design change from a while ago when a D-gun could just ensure mutual destruction. But speaking of, tangentially, 8D Gun has claimed that high ground, and the commander survived. 8D Gun has 2 commanders now. That's how that works. Pretty much the only way to do so. You can get decoys, but the only way to claim 2 is take over for your teammate or resurrect your opponent. X Factor taking the chauffeur across the map, and then kind of heading back home. And now, very important to note, still building up. He's gone for the tier 2. Not sure if he ended up delaying the Geo if it got taken out. But 8D Gun taking over for the player down the center might have been a blessing in disguise. And now tier 2 constructors are coming out across the board, giving 4 times as much income. It's such a huge deal. Okay, they're about to get such a boosted metal income. This is going to go to 40 metal per second. That will be over 10% of the entire income of the 8-player team. That's one way to financially recover from this sort of situation. Asking for transport at the back can be very useful on the front line. The light transports can carry commanders, and technically they can carry construction and laser turrets as well. So now we got some of the artillery, the aggravator rockets against the Lasher missile trucks and the Wolverine artillery. Problem is, well, is it a vision problem? He sees it with radar, but the missile trucks slightly outrange, and so do the artillery trucks as well. Vehicles generally stronger, but less maneuverable. But once you get into position, and both of them building some wall-offs as well. Mighty Chips throwing his ticks by. 8D Gun trying to hold. Yeah, plus 40 metal per second, if he can hold it. And so far, doing okay. Asking for a Twitcher, the tier 2 Cortex Combat Engineer. 8D Gun, no, the commander. Okay, that's... yeah, plenty of HP. 1% more than he needs. And regaining. Somehow, still most of the commanders intact. But X Factor is trying to change that. Dropping the commander in. Well, neither... Is it the commander that's hurt? Yes, the commander's at 38%. But that metal extractor taking some hits. Yanami looking to deal with it. Great D-gun swipes, I say, right up until they weren't. Trying to target. If he, with no transport, he can't get out. I mean, I guess he could walk, but that's a lot harder to do, especially under fire. Meanwhile, more D-guns from Mighty Chips. The action heating up across the board, somewhat literally, with a Dragon Maw flamethrower roasting Meowcat. Oh, the metal 1%. He needs that metal extractor. The walls are no. They slip in between the walls, and losing that metal extractor means most of the economic advantage will fall. Mighty Chips trying to sneak up, takes out with the cloaking device, helping to cover him. Takes out one of the laser turrets, now 8D gun with his borrowed commander. Under fire from X Factor Live. Now falling back, calling out GG. I don't know if we're quite there yet. Losing another commander certainly won't help though. The ticks close in, surround, and kill with that extra damage from flanking. And the soundtrack chooses Fading Hope of Victory as the song we're listening to. The original bar soundtrack, which is quite amazing, actually. Even the Raptor mode has its own unique music. So, in order to listen to it, all you have to do is play the game. Though it might trash talk you, kind of incidentally. Fading Hope of Victory, indeed. As the blue team now has the advantage in metal, energy, and, well, everything across the board. Morale as well. Another commander. Exploder rated down the center. And X Factor has grabbed the 10x medal for his team. So now plenty. Well, for himself, but also his team. Scarecrow sending a whole bunch to Yanami. He's got some aircraft behind. Still 7 players in the game. Tier 2 bot lab coming out. X Factor blasted his way through. D-guns all across the board, but the Centurions are closing in. X Factor has no easy way out of this. The Resbot's trying to repair. Sumo's coming out. The Tier 2 Cortex assault bots. Way more HP as they waddle across. The Sheldon artillery from long range. They don't hit hard, but they are constantly hitting. They can really help push things back early. But now some gunships. Banshees, which are pretty much the same as their StarCraft counterparts. He's cloaked, but they're targeting. They can see the commander on radar, which isn't a perfect indicator, but it's close enough. Mighty Chip's going to be taken out. 3 to 7 commanders left on the board, but you only need 1 to win. The battle will continue. We see Hounds and Sheldon. Well, not Hounds. We got Sheldons and Fiends up against just a massive Tier 1. But wait. Some Sheldons on either side now. Meanwhile, the Ticks and the Fiends try to overrun the north side. Why so easy? Might have to turn that comment on himself momentarily. As the Fiends are closing in. Wow, he's burning fast. The Fiends on everything. The Shurikens try to save the day, but it's not enough. Another one bites the dust. Fighters on either side exchanging. Hell's Hound moving up. And now it's 7 to 2 in favor of the blue team. Still holding across the board. Hell's Hound moving up to deal. What? Another one. 6 to 2. He was going for the advanced geothermal plant, which is a significant percentage of all the energy. Oh, he's just gonna manually detonate it for a larger explosion. Will it get there? I don't think it did, but I mean, is that an atomic bomber? Okay. All right. Does he have a beat on the commander? No. But he's just going to go for the metal extractor. He doesn't have much vision, but he gets the hit. The Tier 2 metal extractor down the center is taken down. And wait a second. With that being taken out, an 8D gun somehow reclaiming. We got a game on our hands. Gunslinger taken out. A bold choice, kind of expensive. The Gunslinger is somewhat unique, at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in being one of the few units that gains a lot of extra combat power as opposed to just HP, when it ranks up and gets kills. I believe it gets more range, which makes it even more effective. Resurrecting some of these down the center. 8D gun trying to salvage. Oh, what? Geothermal plant taken out. There's a Cerberus, which is a combination artillery battery and geothermal. You don't get nearly as much energy out of it. 450 instead of 1250. But you do get a massive artillery cannon and a more defensible structure, so... Potato and artillery-based potato. The lines are drawn. It's been a hectic and topsy-turvy early game. But now, with Tier 2 coming online, seems like both sides are mostly stabilizing. We got some shurikens trying to hold a combination of welders and centurions. More Tier 1 brawls down the center as the grunts on either side maul each other with lasers at point-blank range. Mammoth tanks, pretty much the strongest Tier 2 option. You see down the center there? I think there's about 2,000 metal a pop. The lines nearly equal down the center. Metal income fluctuating based on all the reclaim, but seeming to be about stable between them. Metal production, metal produced overall, slightly in favor of the blue team, but not a 4% difference is not going to be a massive one. Oh, but wait, X Factor was waiting for his moment, and this entire force is an escort for the commander now floating across the field. Trying to cover. He's just going for the commander bomb. Trying to wipe out the economy. A very bold move. The red team pinging it out. And is there any anti-air? They just need to target down the transport. Honestly, I'm not sure what happened. I think the commander drops to the ground, but he's going for the back line. Special operative. He manages to drop out the commander. He's burning. Multiple beamers, but he cloaks, which means the beamers don't have a beat on him. He's trying to reclaim his air plant, but the commander, self-destruct, taken down. And not exactly the game-ending success I think they were hoping for, but does end up doing some damage. There is still the advanced geothermal. The ticks try to close in on it. Commander holding as well. If he takes out the advanced geo, that's a huge part of the energy for the red team, which they've been struggling with the entire game. And the Juno missile comes through. And the Juno... Let's see where it was fired from. Here we are. Anti-radar, anti-spam, anti-tick. It takes out ticks, radar, and radar jammers, making it very effective against the spam of these ticks. And now he's firing the Juno so that they're taken out the moment they're constructed by the bot labs. An 8D gun moving forward with the Sheldons. He's even got some of the Arbiter rocket bots, which we've seen shelling across the lines. And that means the 10X metal extractor taken out yet. Wait, what? How does he have another commander? Did someone just hand him a commander? He's doing it again. What are you doing? The madman. Where are you even going? He's also got a few Wasp gunships. There's very limited anti-air. The Juno's on top of everything. Oh, bombers. Whirlwind Tier 2 bombers incoming. Looking for a run on the metal extractor. Either way, they get wiped out of the sky. Will they land on anything important? Not meaningful. Kind of a waste of that one. There was an EMP bot somewhere. We got Czars targeting 8D Gun's commander. And oh no, wait a second. It doesn't really matter if they don't hit the mark. They only have to get close. And those are big hits. Down he goes. Oh, no. A little bit too far forward. It'll cost him. And they're back down to 2. But at the back line, Another geothermal taken out. Just massive targets for both sides. We have multiple tactical launchers. Long-range plasma cannons are targeting the fusions. Does he have a bead on him? We're going to the player view. He knows where they are. Doesn't have a radar bead, but fusions don't move very fast. And what I mean is they don't move at all. That plasma shield is bouncing him off, but it doesn't actually block. It doesn't absorb the projectiles, it just bounces them. So that means if they hit the right angle, they can still do some crazy damage. And that shield takes energy. Oh no, that shield got EMP'd! Oh, that's huge. He hit him with the tactical EMP launcher, and that means the fusions are under direct fire. And that could wipe out even more of the... They're not getting repaired. They're not paying attention. He's got a single con turret repairing. They're hitting the walls in front, but the AoE, there's the hit. Oh, the splash damage isn't as much as I thought. I thought it'd be way more dramatic. But here we go. Shiva's, which just got a graphical update, and I think it looked great. The assault mechs from the Gantry for Cortex. Their main weakness is a lack of anti... Not very expensive at all. They're more like your kind of spammable option out of the Gantry. But 1550 metal a pop, and can really break through the lines quickly if you have no response. Their main weakness is a lack of anti-air. And they're not so great against spammed units. They're good against like mid-tier T2 units. Atomic bombers, on the other hand, obviously quite a strong option. There are some anti-air bots. Tier 1, the atomic bombers costing 2200 metal a pop. So clearly a strong response. The grunts, well, I don't know what I want to watch more. But it looks like we have the great grunt invasion. Rockets across the board. The turret lines. The grunts are going forward, slightly spread out. The bulwark isn't yet completed, and the grunts may have an opportunity to break through. But they're going straight into the concave, getting mowed down as they pass through the gates. The bulwark is completed, and I don't think they're breaking through. The grunts are trying to cover for the arbiters on the back line, but it holds. It holds. Meanwhile, X Factor moving up with grunts of his own. He's got the spam on the way. EMP attempted. The Shivas actually get hit, but they're not stunned entirely. They have too much HP for that. Some sharpshooters from Armada looking to target them. The grunts absorbing the fire. A key part of sharpshooters, they can cloak, but both their cloak and their shots take energy. They're just ghosts, okay? If you're a StarCraft fan, which, you know, I bet there's some overlap there, they're ghosts, effectively. Maybe not quite as OP, and they can't be healed so quickly, and they don't have EMP, and can't launch nukes, but you get the idea. So fair, ghosts. And ghosts are actually the EMP bots, but let's not get too confused now. Meanwhile, fighters dueling. Looks like the red team will hold for the most part, but some of the radar bots coming up. The Shiva's still moving forward. Another wave of fighters coming out from green as well. Energy slightly tilted towards the blue team now, as is metal. Some abductor EMP transports, which have one of the coolest sounds in the game as well. Going to be wiped out by the healthy amount of anti-air bombs, though. The Shiva's marching across and actually take out the production. Getting a little harder to break through. They're not able to take out the chaff easily. They're sharpshooters for 2 players, but they're mostly firing on grunts. Meanwhile, the Arbiters finding an angle. Juno lands. Plasma cannons. Still, he actually manages to hit through, as the energy isn't there on the plasma cannon. There's still 2 down the center. And the push to the north is making a lot of progress now. Oh, no, 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 the Geo. If those Shivas get close enough, the Geo will wipe out all the defenses on the high ground. And that could be an absolute disaster for the red team, which has ground out a tenuous position. despite the lack of morale. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. Oh, and now it's worse. Direct hit, the Geo. A massive explosion wipes out everything on the high ground and opens up potentially the back line. Looks like another player left at some point. But it's not over yet. If they lose them, where is the most of the economy concentrated? Over for the blue team. It's mostly X Factor, who has a, wow, well, a bit of production. Multiple tier 2 aircraft plants, multiple advanced fusions, 3 bot labs pumping grunts across the field. Meanwhile, the majority of the economy is more spread out for the red team, which is a good and bad thing. Another Geo is potentially vulnerable. The Shivas have broken through to the north. The metal extractors are vulnerable. A Garganeth, Crab Walker, just firing all the rockets off. The sharpshooters aren't enough here. Got some more EMPs launching. Narnak has put out some Shivas and is breaking through the southern lines. They're not going to be able to get to the north. Multiple EMP bots. Some walls, tier 2 walls down the front. Those can be repaired and have a lot more HP and blocking potential. Their physical size is the relevant part. The Tsars try to hold. EMP keeps some of the Shivas at bay. The push to the north is being slowed, though not quite stopped. A wave of shurikens. Junos targeting the center line. Chaff coming through from Ridiculous. The Shivas just crossing around the lines. The tier 2 bot lab targeted and taken out. Meanwhile, X Factor has redirected his legions towards the center, trying to collapse to the south. But the Shivas finally break through. Another one. 3 commanders to 2. The blue team still has the advantage there. But remember, it only takes 1. Is that a Gantry? Well, yes, obviously it's a Gantry. As he's pumping out Shivas, one every, like... Oh, he stopped production? In order to add the tier 2 air. The push is being stalled, though not stopped, to the north. Meanwhile, red team's push to the south. Gunships and the Shivas, with their lack of anti-air, showing some vulnerabilities. The Karganiths have more anti-air potential, though not enough to handle it on their own. Shiva's still breaking through. If they can take out more production, it could set up a follow-up assault. Mammoths as well, which technically can hit air, but I don't think those lasers are very effective at it. Here come another wave of fighters. Tier 2 fighters. X Factor just breaking through with the grunts. And he's been building up... Ah, here it is. Building up the bombers at the back. Hiding them for now. The Shiva's nearly point blank with the fusions, and there's the hit. Takes him out. And the energy production is being cut down. Well, not really cut down, more like exploded, but... and not in a good way. The grunts and everything else overrunning the field on either side. You can see it almost looks like we're kind of rotating the map. I mean, that was supposed to be a physical comedy pun. Please clap and like and subscribe. But with the grunts to the north claiming almost all of that section, the metal extractors down the center, there's still the tier 2 extractor for 8D gun. Only 5 players remain in the match for the red team, but still putting up a very strong fight. They've claimed they've taken control of the remaining units and economy of their less tenacious teammates. And there's still a dream here. Though in fact, the army value is heavily in favor of the red team. They have 70% more army value. That might be partially because most of X Factor's army value is in grunts. And also, bombers are not that much energy. Or I mean, that much metal. Oh, it may pay off. The entire southern flank is collapsing. The diverse army here. Air, ground, tier 3 and tier 1, and everything in between. But the bombers are headed north to clear out what's left of the backline economy. They've got an angle. I think they just saw the fusions. There are 4 flak cannons lined up. Is that enough to stop them? The bombers are coming in. And starting their run, will hit one of the fusions, takes it out, the rest hit by a chain reaction. The fighter's just a little late. But the bombers, a single run on the construction turrets could be devastating. Loses half of them, but not the fusions. And the advanced geo is still online, so there's still a dream. Because the ground army, especially from Ridiculous, is overrunning the field. There's enough anti-air to deal with all this. There's a demon tier 3 mech in the center. The gunships are just getting slapped out of the sky. That is weight to the entire army's anti-air. A whole bunch of trashers are turning the gunships into high-tech scrap. But here come the grunt legions. Redirected. There's 4. Well, some of the players from the blue team are leaving. X Factor will take control of them. I don't think there's a much better player to do so. The demon on the fusions. Actually, is he blocked? The demon is stuck. It got through the wreck, though, and now it'll create more. There are 4 or 5 pop-up turrets with a whole bunch of grunts holding the line. And now, the metal... It seems like the economy is still going towards the blue team. But the sheer unit count and army value. So, the red team has 1,700 units. The blue team also has 17... I don't know if that's the total on the map over here. But... Can they actually stop this full map press? The grunts are everywhere. On both sides. There's an entire line of trashers. There's still something happening at the very back. But those pop-up turrets, and now something a little heavier. The mammoths should be enough to take them out. Some fiends as well. Garganeth breaking through the economy. X Factor. That's all he's got. In fact, they're cornered now. The map has been... Oh, wait, these are point-blank fusions. They're attacking the backline from the backline. Building with dozens of air cons here. Air constructors. Yanami will match it. They should be able to overrun it with the liberal application of Shivas. Now, the mammoths dueling with the Shivas, but I think the mammoths actually win that brawl. Especially with some response behind. Huh. A map almost unrecognizable from when the game started. As it almost looks like a north-south versus... as opposed to an east-west battle. And I mean, that's how it goes. Metal extractors don't run out. So, it's just however much economy you can claim. Though at this point, much of the economy is in converting. With the advanced energy converters. One well-placed strike will wipe out X-Factor. He has an entire assembly line of construction turrets. He has half a dozen advanced fusions. He is over half of his team's energy economy. And probably around that same amount of metal. Helltown moving forward with dozens of Shivas overrunning the center line. The valuable metal extractors in the center almost forgotten in the scheme of things. What is this? They are attacking a metal extractor with a pop-up turret. All right then. More plasma cannons will be overrun. Yanami able to circumvent doing a good job for what he has. He has barely any income, but he has a few units to work with, and he's doing a good job of clearing up the backside, which is, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Those are not Titans. Those are the bulwarks firing. Nobody investing in the more ultra expensive units because those are just kind of a liability at this point. Army value still in favor of the red team. Wow. A legion of Shivas. The few Karganists mixed in. The amount of anti-air bots on either side, well, being reduced, but still quite healthy. Well, now, let's tilt the map in a way we understand. East versus west again, but we've turned it entirely 90 degrees. But is that the right angle for either team? We're gonna find out. That's ridiculous, with so much on the field and a decent economy as well. But the Shivas are striking for the back line. And it's hard to respond to that many tier 3 units. What do we have here? That's just a transport. There are some bombers. Well, who has bombers? X-Factor does. Gonna use his teammate as cover with their anti-air bots. The bombers are headed for the back line. Narnik moving into position to defend. He has a few flak turrets, but I think they're underestimating the scale of this. The Karganists targeting the bombers. A few of them gonna go down on the way. This doesn't feel like a hugely committed attack. And, well, 3 bombers will make it through. Is that enough? He targets the fusions. Oh, hits the construction turrets. And actually, the bombers are coming in for another round. Meanwhile, the ground push. If they get another volley on this. Another run on the fusion. Oh, no. 5%! They still haven't been taken out, but the ground is being overrun. The Shiva's doing what they can. If the bombers get one more run. No! They saved the fusions. And with it, the entire economy. And now the ground forces are ridiculous. What happened to that Shiva push? It's been mostly shut down. It looks like they collapsed on it quite successfully. Moving through the center. Ridiculous been thinned out. It's going to be the grunts that end up breaking through. But one of these advanced energy converters could easily react poorly to the directed fire of the grunts. The bulwarks are holding. Yanami taking control of some of the units in order to micro them while the rest of the team macros. 8D Gun has built a forward operating base on where his opponents used to live. But now it feels like the red team has taken map control. Some bombers coming in. There's not that much anti-air. Shurikens do not have anti-air capability, but a flat cannon definitely does. The bombers ain't gonna happen. Another one taken down. They tried for a cheeky run. The Shiva's in melee range. And the lines have been redrawn with Shivas on either side. That front line tier 3 mech for both sides. Oh, wait. Another run? It's just bombers. Oh, they found some. I don't know if they actually spotted the fusions here. They're going straight for the advanced Geo. He's just going to detonate it and then stops it. Just comes around, targets the fusions. Another bust on this attack, though. Meanwhile, somehow Hell's Hound has snuck around with a few waves of grunts. More players leaving. Mighty Chips taps out. But the game not over yet. There's still, well, there's one commander. X-Factor Live lives. Meanwhile, it's Narnik. As well as 8D Gun. At least one of the commanders. The lines are drawn yet again, though we keep redrawing them throughout the game. Both sides relatively low on the economy for this stage of the game. The entire team having 34k energy is really not that significant. Narnik with a pro gamer response to a player who can't do anything but criticize his team. And that's why he's the highest ranked player. Well, here we are. An attempted run by will be shut down mostly. There are some... he's got... Are those the weaponized extractors? No. But it might be worth investing a few of those. Radar bot... Not radar bots. Shiva's exchanging fire. Res bots here. I just saw him say radar. Res bots pulling those wrecks back into the fight for one more attempt, no matter which side they started on. But it's anybody's game. Despite the not unexpected yet depressingly early calls for GG from multiple players on either side, the tenacity, especially of the top tier players on either side of this story, is unrivaled. And somehow we've reached a near impasse, though the army value of the red team still heavily outweighs that of the blue team. In fact, if they sent everything right now, they likely could crush, though you don't want to risk it at this stage. And again, you don't... Technically, the game could go on forever. You're not going to run out of metal or energy. Could go infinitely up or down. Well, I guess 0 is a minimum, but as players have reached this level of tech, things get a lot more dangerous. A rocket just hit these in the air. I think the screamers have some anti-air. The 10x metal extractors have been reclaimed. What is X Factor up to? He's retooled his economy, and he has a whole lot of tier 1 energy converters. The army value is shifted a little bit back towards the blue team, though still heavily in favor of red. X Factor still throwing the spam in with his more valuable units. Another Shiva push from Hellhound will be met with an equal or greater number on the other side. Catapults will be used, and that could break up this sort of battle. The catapult rockets far outranging the Shivas, though more expensive, scattering a lot of damage across the field. And, whoa, they've really claimed that southern half of the map. It's looking like it's trending towards the red team solidly for possibly the first time this game. It's been going that way for a little while. Almost all of these Shivas are on their second life. You can tell by the little halos. They were resurrected. I believe they can only be resurrected once, but dragged back into the fight. All the advantages have shifted, but the Shivas are still moving forward. The Shurikens, though, shutting things down. There's almost no anti-air here. This push will be blasted apart, and another one will find a lot more success to the south. The numbers are there. Fighters battling it out in the distance. It's unclear. He's just building more Shivas. the cheeky bombing runs have been attempted, but now there's literally anti-air across the entirety of the map. There are 217 trashers. Oh, ridiculous. Scattered throughout the entire boundary. Yanami coming in. Replacing the gap left by Hellhound. And the push from across the map is closing in. The Shiva's outnumbering what's left. It's just a numbers game at this point. They have the high ground, which gives them a bit of an advantage when it comes to accuracy. But they may have it. The last chance. Nuclear missile launchers is the last gasp. And this game has been so hectic. Is there any anti-nuke? I'm not seeing it. Okay, wait a second. That is the Hail Mary. Nuclear missiles. If they're spotted, well, even if they're spotted, at some point, if you don't have any anti-nuke, it doesn't matter. The gunships are going to be taken out. Do they have any vision? The fighters are coming in to zone them out. They don't spot it. He's holding. The Shivas are holding. Would it be enough to turn the tide instantly? No. But if they hit the economy, there's a dream. They're closing in. This is the vision of the red team. They see most of the map. There's only a tiny bit that they don't. How long? Another 20 seconds or so until the nukes can be launched, and they know exactly where to launch them. And even then, you still have to protect the commander. You have to break the push. It may be a Pyrrhic victory, but it's hard to see the trend shifting. There's multiple bases. Unless he can hit the commanders with the nukes, well then, the ultimate Hail Mary. And it's a possibility. The nuke is finishing. As we close in on 50 minutes, the red team probably wondering why they're still going. X Factor. Green has left the game, but Hellhound grabbed by X Factor. Losing more fusions, but nuclear missile ready. I think he's already queued up. Targets it on the very back line. I don't think there's an interceptor. Nothing coming up. The Hail Mary. Where's the commander? Not close enough. Meanwhile, the ground army's still going across. But the nuke, it hits! And blasts apart a bunch of the base. There's another one. About to be ready. But the economy, can they launch it in time? At this point, he has to hit both commanders. It's not gonna happen. But one final launch. Point blank range? It comes around again. Oh, there it goes. The whole neighborhood. X Factor with D guns. Down he goes. And the red team, led by Narnik. And despite his
so that's how it ends.
less than camaraderie antics, ridiculous, 8D gun ends up powering through, taking over for his teammate in the center and holding the line. X Factor putting up a absolute Rocky level fight. If the nukes had hit 5 minutes ago, maybe can turn it all around. But what a comeback from the red team in order to hold it together. Not giving up just because things went a little sideways early. Not surrendering, but instead, eventually, claiming victory. GG. Well, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this made your day a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. So thank you for watching. Make sure to check out Beyond All Reason today for absolutely free. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay unreasonable.